Hello, this is Lisa Lee. Welcome to this week's Pick a Card reading. We are looking at the love story or the relationship that no matter how many times you try to walk away, no matter how many cord cuttings you do, even when you physically remove yourself, there still seems to be something that keeps on. It's like either haunting or it's like an unmovable, you can't get rid of it. So the goal with this reading is partially to liberate you and partially to kind of process whatever it is that needs to be looked at and needs to be given space to in order to figure out even why this is such an entanglement. So we've got three piles here. Pile number one is the honeybee. Pile number two is the flying pig. And pile number three is the tree. So give yourself a moment to meditate and see which pile is calling you. If all piles are calling you, sometimes that happens, that's okay too. Timestamps will be below. Pile number one, those of you that chose the beehive, the signifier card under here is the mystic. So I pulled these when I was creating the piles because I wanted to sort of have a little background, and I also was kind of following my intuition in terms of a way to enter the reading. And so with this mystic card here, one of the things that we have to look at in terms of this connection is that it is a deeply spiritual connection, or it exists at a spiritual level in a very, very profound way. We're only alive like through the lifespan for like a very limited amount of time. And in fact, the material world, the world of matter, it only takes up like a fragment of universal space too. And so there's this notion of some of these entanglements are because the relationship is so strong, we're interdimensional. So like interdimensionally, like there's something about this with the mystic card here that indicates that one of the reasons why you can't rid yourself of this is because in another place, in another way, in a dimension that is somehow connected to you, there seems to be something there. So let's go ahead and, wow, these cards are flying. The Seven of Swords and the Two of Wands and the Five of Wands. So there's some real conflict here. The Two of Wands speaks of a path, it speaks of planning. The Seven of Swords speaks of deception, and the Five of Wands speaks of competition and conflict. So that's a very interesting set of energies to come through with this energy of the mystic, with this spiritual connection. Let's explore. Let's take a look at why we're seeing this in the way that we are. Queen of Wands and the King of Pentacles. So with the Two of Wands and the Hierophant, there's a mess of information here. Okay, hold on. Let me get more cards. I have to get like a lot more cards to sort of really see this in the way that I want to see it. Let me move these. Because actually, you know what? I am going to grab another one of these. This is a bizarre energy. This is almost kind of like the planning to marry you, right? Or like there was something about a plan to. The Hierophant is like institutions, so like an institution like marriage, an institution like for some reason I'm seeing a library, a college. So there's some sort of like plan with the Two of Wands, a journey that you're planning or a journey that was planned that brought you into this entanglement related to some form of a contract. But not just contract, it's like the Hierophant is, again, there's like a church too. Let's take a look. Because that Seven of Swords is going to be about deception. That High Priestess is something unspoken, something deep, something psychically true, something gnosis. And that Five of Wands speaks of a conflict around probably this attraction with the Queen of Wands there. So why the King of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck? It's almost going to be like the principalities of the earth that we are on and in and with. And it also is an energy of husband. So let's get more with the Storm and the Self. So when we look at something like a relationship or some kind of a quantum entanglement that we can't get rid of. And we think about the mystic aspect of this, the spiritual aspect of this. Something about, I see these two eyes as being from like different dimensions, like different sides of I see almost like a veil is going through the heart of whatever this entanglement is. You definitely have a connection to this person that causes a storm within you, has always caused a storm within you. And it's almost like this energy has always been present with the self. So this energy, even though there's like some sort of a distance, some sort of a veil, some sort of a separation, is bizarrely, the entanglement has to do with that this seems to be some part of yourself. This person carries some part of yourself. And so this could be one, like I hate looking at it as like a twin flame kind of a thing, because I think that that can get really messy and there's a lot of gobbledygook with some of the stuff that I see around that. But this is pinging, you know, this is kind of like sparking around this notion of sharing a soul, sharing an origin, sharing a family, even possibly. Like there's some sort of an entanglement here that is like at an institutional level. And I'm gonna get more information on this institution because I want to see like just what kind of institution we're talking about. But that self card on the bottom of the deck, like there's a counterpart, and this is that counterpart. But this counterpart seems to be like, because of this mystic here and because of the storm here, I don't want to say placed beyond the veil, but there's something there. Venus, love, okay, that's true. So the nature of the Hierophant is love. So this is going to be marriage, planning to marry, but at the 11th house. Okay, let me get more information. This is sort of cryptic. I'm gonna get a mess of cards out, and then we can kind of sort of walk through what it means to like tease out the relationship itself, because we're going to look at the relationship itself so that we can kind of like move through, like, you know, have some movement through some of the trauma, actually, because there is trauma with the storm here. There's some sort of problem with relating, or a way in which, like, because I'm getting these like vibes of like this, there's something about this is against some rule or something like that. With this 11th house being about, a relationship of the future. You have common goals. There's something that this energy wants to create with you, or there's something that you were meant to create with this energy. It may have come through marriage, could have been kids, or it could have been something that was started in another place or agreed upon, or that it was going to be a project here. Something that you were going to work on bringing into the world at like a very big structural, like community level. What is that? Let's take a look. Let's get more cards. Because there's a big deception here with this High Priestess, and I want to understand what that is as well. We need a lot of clarifiers with this particular group. That 11th house energy is a strange energy to see come up with love, because it's a group energy. Something to discover. Okay, let me see. Let me get information on the storm. Let me see what kind of storm this is. You're afraid of this energy. Energy gave you a fear. Six of Wands, though, bottom of the deck, we're talking about the reason that your soul can't let go of this, because there is something here that once we're able to sort of like excavate and get to the heart of it, there's something here that is it's a victory for you to move through this. It's a victory for you to like see this clearly, and it's a victory for you to have power over this. It's a battle. There's some aspect of this that is a battle. There's some part of yourself that is kind of like stuck on what this relationship is in symbol. Because with that Mystic card being like, there's something about this that is like spiritual in nature, some sort of like contract to do something like that entails two sides of a veil. Like that I can see really, really clearly. Where it gets sort of foggy for me, and where I think like things get interesting, is that whatever this plan, this Two of Wands plan that was made, a contract or an agreement between souls at a spiritual level that necessitated genes and gifts and powers that are of a mystic variety. Your mysticism and your mystical gifts and whatever this plan is and whatever this love is, there's this part that is confusing around this 11th house creativity, community, humanity thing. Like you can't let go of this because there's something here with the Nine of Cups being about desire, the Ten of Cups being about ultimate emotional fulfillment. Like there's Two of Pentacles, a choice to be made about this storm. So the storm that this kicks up in you, there's a choice to be made about how you're going to relate to those feelings, how you're going to relate to this connection. It does seem like it's like this whole reading is about connections that seem like impossible to sever. The deception here with the High Priestess is about something that you are afraid of something here. And it might even be like you're afraid of the part of yourself that this energy like interacts with, that this energy sparks, that this energy sees, that this energy is in relationship to some part of yourself with the High Priestess that is unspoken or that is taboo. There's some deception here related to this fear and the level of fear that you feel in relationship to this energy. Bottom of the deck energy is it's a victory. Pile number one, this is kind of a mysterious, with the Star card here and the Five of Wands and the Queen of Wands, like there's this this is conflict, but it's inner conflict. It's almost like competition, but I'm feeling this much more as like an inner conflict over like the way that you are meant to show up in the world with this Queen of Wands and the Star card. The Star is elevated, and the Star isn't just elevated. The healing process that the Star goes through elevates the Star as like the beacon, as the light that guides the way. And so like whatever there is this inner conflict about how you're showing up in the world, or how you're meant to show up in the world, or what you are meant to represent with the self here, especially in the King of Pentacles being like the established, being established in the world, how you establish yourself in the world. And there's something here about like this King of Pentacles, like with the symbol of husband, keep on like that's flashing at me. That keeps on being this thing of like, you are established by way of this order. You are established by way of this partnership. You are, and like, this is not that, right? This is like what you're told this should look like, or this should be, or this should offer, or this should represent, but it really doesn't. And whatever this inner conflict about your position as elevated and a beacon of light, lighting the way, like the reason that you can't let go of this is because whatever this plan was, there was great love that you had for community. There was great love that you had for humanity, that going through this process, going through this story, enacting these parts and these roles in the play of life that you've had to sort of walk through, it simultaneously took everything that you, like the storm, I'm seeing a tornado come through and just wipe out everything that was built. And so this choice about how you're going to work with this storm, and the existence of the storm, and that the storm happened. Let me get a couple more cards on like what that storm looked like, because that Two of Pentacles says there needs to be balance. A choice needs to be made. It's like you're almost sitting in some sort of there's a part of you that's sitting in a kind of ambiguity when it comes to this energy, because you want to be free of it, and I think you've worked really, really, really hard to be free of it, but there's still part of you that is like unable to have this energy be anything but a part of your life. That's such a strange thing to see in a reading like this. All right, so let me see this storm. I want to see what the storm was made up of, or what the storm, the components, or the energies associated with the storm is. There was a battle, I know that, and actually may have been a great many battles. I'm actually seeing like battlefields. So war. You were at war with yourself in this, at war with this energy, at war with like the life that you were living with this energy, like at war with your calling. Like there's a lot of that there. So part of why this is hard for you to let go, because there's still something here that is unfinished, that is meant for you, that even though you're afraid of it, you've been like, you're kind of deceiving yourself a little bit around like what it means to allow this story to be your story. So the story being your story is simultaneously a victory, right? With this card here and this whole process. This process is very strange. Something with the quartz. You were led into this relationship from like in a spiritual way. And I think it really shook your faith. I think there's this part of you that was like, because it was a spiritual call, because it was a spiritual, like you felt like God put you in that position, the gods put you in that position, your guides put you in that position. It was the clearest thing you've ever seen. Like you were spiritually led in a very, very powerful way to do this, only to encounter like a horrible storm that took like that. I'm seeing the tornado hit your life, like anything you built, like gone. And like leaving you with just nothing there in the way of something built. Like this is a lot. So with that 10 of Cups being about ultimate happiness, ultimate fulfillment, ultimate like family joy, this comes in around communities and friendship and creativity and discoveries and like the future. So it's almost like the message is it's gonna all be worth it when you are able to crack this code right here. And we're gonna work on cracking that code. We are. But first, let's look at the nature of the storm. What was the storm made up of? What was the alchemy of the storm? Okay, we have a victory here, and then we see the storm again. I get that. So the first thing that you guys are saying, because you have victory and 6 of Wands, whatever the storm is, there is great victory, or there will be great victory. Despite the battlefield, despite the wars, despite the tornado that came through, and there's still some victory there because of the broken heart. Why is the broken heart a victory? With the World card in the bottom of the deck. Because of the new chapter that it brings in with the yin and the yang. So there's a balance here with this yin and yang in the world. Okay, so like a worldview. Wow. Okay. What I have in terms of the storm, even though the victory card is here, and the victory card symbolizes with that 6 of Wands card as well, like I almost feel like your guide is saying, like, I know it's hard for you to hear this, and I know you don't want to believe it, and I know you don't even want to think of it this way, 7 of Swords, but this was not something that you were tricked into. This was not something that you did because Spirit led you awry. This was going to be a big deal with this 11th house purpose. This whole relationship is purposed, was purposed. And that 11th house, that edge, that it's an age of Aquarius, you know, kind of a feeling that I'm feeling from this energy here with the rebellion and the experimentation, like the future, like that's all that energy. It's something so different, you know what I mean, that you are meant to conceive of, that you are meant to sort of bring through in the way of vision, that you are meant to, there's a breakthrough here with vision and worldview, with the World card on the bottom of the deck, and it's for community. So I'm going to see what that breakthrough is comprised of, but when it comes to the storm energy and what makes up the storm energy, we're talking about a great loss that broke your heart, a massive loss, a massive fight and a massive loss. And so you might be in this place with this whole story where the only thing that you're looking at is the loss. Like you may not be at the point in this story where the loss is mitigated enough that you can kind of take that distance look and say like, well, this happened for that reason and this happened for that reason and that was never how it was supposed to be. In your particular spread. It's not this happened for that reason, this happened for that reason. It was like this journey through these institutions or through this institution by way of Venus, like love, and for the purpose of love, for the purpose of like this was done for love. But we even have 9 of Cups, which is going to be like desire, and it's so and the 9 of Cups is a silly desire. Not silly, but it's like this is some puppy love. So you might the plan. Yeah, it's funny because I think for you this happened really fast. So you may have not really understood what was driving you into this situation when it comes to love, when it comes to your intuition, when it came to desire. It may make absolutely no sense. You might look back and think, what the heck was that? Like, that happened really fast. I don't even remember doing it. This happened, you know? So when you think about this situation, the first thing that your guides kind of want you to reckon with when it comes to like just dealing with it and enough to sort of be free of it or liberate yourself from it, at least in terms of like letting it be a choice. The first thing you have to understand, and choice is a funny word to use because it seems that the acceptance here in some ways is that you didn't have a choice, that this was predestined, that all of the signs and the symbols were leading you on a path through an institution, through a story, through a structure that in some way was guided by love, driven by some level of desire. It's funny what this desire doesn't feel right, so I'm going to look at it in a second. But the storm that you encountered and the balance that needs to be had at this point is an acceptance-based balance. Like there's a call to step into acceptance, to step into some sort of a place that says, my story was supposed to be my story. It wasn't punishment. And that might be really difficult. And I think we're gonna like do some identifying with that. So the identifying that we're going to be doing, we're going to do it through the 7 of Swords, High Priestess, 9 of Swords, because here is an unspoken, like deep truth, a gnosis, a mystic reality, and it's holy and it's sacred. But something here is causing a lot of phobic terror, fear, and there's a deception around all of it. And so when we think about what it means for you to accept that the story that you lived through wasn't punishment, it wasn't you did something so stupid and so wrong, you really were pushed into this. Somehow it was orchestrated. And we're going to look at what that orchestration was, but ultimately this was for a purpose related to something that you're supposed to bring through, or that you are bringing through for your family. And when I say family, this 10 of Cups, I'm not getting family in this world. I'm getting something larger. This was for the community, the soul family at like a cosmic level. And so what does it mean for you to even begin to look at this clearly and accept this? Let's look at this deception around this unspoken truth related to this great fear. Something was going to happen when you bumped into this. There was something that was going to be ignited in you. And this pushed you. This pushed you in a really unique, like, you can almost say that, like, whatever this was created the mystic almost to a certain degree. You were always going to have these gifts. You were always going to be super mystical. But I think you probably were like, what's that word? Like disconnected. This pushed you into like using your gifts somehow. But let's take a look. Let's see if we can get some information on that subject. Inner child, inner voice, jealousy. We've got a bunch of cards here. I don't think we're supposed to take all of them. Closest friends, anxiety, trigger, and lies. All right, well, that's kind of a lot. But let's just let Spirit like move us through defensiveness. What do you feel most defensive about when it's brought up? People not seeing you clearly. Being misunderstood. You know, there are certain truths about what happened in this relationship that are kind of devastating when it comes to like I heard a phrase, like everybody, you were in a place where everyone hated you. And I don't mean that like you were worth that hate. I don't mean that you should have had that hate, but you have been the object of a lot of hatred. And this high priestess, I mean, on YouTube might even like, there's boobies. That's okay. Sometimes I forget that my cards are scandalous. This high priestess has a quality that upsets people. and I don't mean there's anything wrong. I'm actually seeing this card as being a very beautiful energy. So there's a certain quality, there's a certain beauty, a triggering beauty. And when we see the inner voice, the inner child, and jealousy, and we see the closest friends, anxiety trigger, and lies, we are talking about a conditioning that is even predates this relationship. And so part of why we have to look at this is because tangled up in what it means to accept that that was the story that you had to live through is the fact that there is this deeper pain related to what you were willing to put yourself through, and really identifying that you don't even want to look at what you were willing to put yourself through. You don't even want to look at the level that you were willing to give your life away, or that you were willing to take this road. Like there's and the fear that you have and the mistrust that you have at a level of self. And every distraction that you employ to like not look at the fact that it's almost like you don't feel safe with yourself. And so that started a very, very long time ago and became this inner voice. And that not feeling safe with yourself, that not trusting yourself, that self-abandonment did something in you where you felt like in order to be a successful person in one way or another, you needed somebody else to facilitate that. And I think that there might even be a part of you that still feels like you need somebody else to facilitate your stability. That inadequacy is really, really, really deep. And it's also a vulnerability. And so part of the reason that this relationship keeps coming back around again, coming back around again, coming back around again, is because untangling this knot is there's still some level of dependence. Even if you have physically left the relationship, even if you don't think of that person, even if you're not attracted to that person, even if you have no attraction whatsoever, there's still some level of dependence here that remains a tie. That inner voice, that inner child, and that jealousy, the simple thing that your guides want to bring to your attention about this in terms of healing, and there's a lot of unhealed stuff. In the family dynamic, there was some way in which you were scapegoated, or there was some way in which you became the target of a lot of hate, but also a lot of like you would be drawn all the way in close and then rejected really harshly, and you weren't around safe people. And so that really caused that inadequacy, that inner voice of the inner child. That as a result, I think this might have had something to do with jealousy, because we have closest friends and anxiety trigger here in lies. That means that you do trigger something. There's probably a lot of jealousy that you've been dealing with all your life. And jealousy is a funny thing. It's a sneaky thing. And it's something that can create a pattern in our life of people disliking us, people disliking you over and over and over and over again. That pattern speaks more to something, some quality that you have that triggers people into giving you a false perception of who you are and what your value is and what you bring to the world. And so being able to sort of attend to this fear of yourself in a certain kind of way, because you don't really, there's not a lot of trust because of the situation. It's almost kind of easy to sort of feel attached to the relationship instead of attached to the need or the feeling around dependence, your relationship to dependence even. And that comes from this notion of, the jealousy thing here is funny because I think that you've probably had a lot of like failed friendships, a lot of failed relationships, a lot of rejection. And this spread and what these cards are saying is that rejection is about your qualities, not your lack of qualities. And I think that defensiveness comes in there. And so what it means for you to first look at this story as one where, yes, you were led by spirit into a situation through an institution by way of this desire and this love for the purpose of whatever creating, developing, understand. Like, you came through this very hard, different path to come to a perspective that, with the World card here, like, ends up being very impactful at a worldview level. And even if it just means changing your own worldview and breaking free of all of those generational curses, this is for a group. And it might just be like the group that the family that comes after you. You broke those generational curses and now you're free of them. But I have a sneaky suspicion that it's quite a bit more. And so when we even think about what this jealousy is, if we're in a hierarchical system, and if the currency of survival, is some talent or some ability or some asset, anybody who feels that you have something that they don't have, there will be a pattern of like lies or experiences with the world and the people around you that give you a certain picture of who you are, when in reality it's very different. And so it causes this defensiveness. So you're very defensive about what this relationship means and what it meant for you to walk into this relationship. And there's even this part of your guides are saying this walking into this relationship was in defense of, in some ways, what you were taught, what the structure that you came from was, what the structure that you were bound by was. And so this is a breaking of generational curses kind of a relationship. It's a breaking of generational stronghold curses in terms of your own worldview. And that worldview change and that worldview shift does in fact connect to the collective unconscious. Like, you do have an impact. There's still some conflict here about like what it means to shine and be that beacon and be in a position where you're standing with this relationship as something that you have conquered instead of something that you're coping with having conquered you, right? Instead of the circumstances of this relationship having conquered you, because I feel like you feel conquered by it, you conquering it. Because whatever you conquering it is, it's the star, it's the Six of Wands victory, it's the victory over this broken heart. And so it's as simple as the world isn't the way you think it is, and the world isn't the way that you think it should be when it comes to people, and love isn't what even, you have these referendums, Spirit is showing me you have these referendums on love. If so-and-so treats me in this way and it's some like evil eye, jealousy nonsense, then they never loved me and I'll never love them, and we're cutting it off cold. And that means every single person is disappointed in that you are, like everything, you know what I mean? Like, no, there are no perfect people. And when it comes to this pattern of leveling you or trying to level you or wanting to level you or playing with whatever you present to try, for somebody else to make themselves feel better however that is going to play itself out over and over again, because I keep on looking at this High Priestess card, and like, you hold such a rare and powerful beauty. And that's a victory. You hold such a rare and powerful power, that mysticism, that's a victory. You have some kind of a magnetism with this Queen of Wands and this star and this position that if you're not in conflict with it because you're so afraid, it's almost like you're afraid of the attention that you need, because it threatens you at the level of you feeling like you need somebody else with you in order to feel safe. So there's a lot of work that has to be done here, but I think the hard work, and there is hard work and like hard processing work when it comes to feeling like there was a reason why you went through what you went through, and there's something that is to be gained and communicated from that process. There's a lot of symbols, there's a lot of symbolism in this journey as well. There's something about this journey that your guides are saying, like, you know, when you entered this path, you know, when you went on this journey, that you had, not only were you given like psychic inclinations, not only were you prompted by your guides, but there was sign after synchronicity after sign after synchronicity after sign after synchronicity, so much so that there was no way to deny any of that stuff. So like, that's a really big deal, and your guys don't want you to have this conflict of having gotten so much information to do something that also nearly destroyed you, or you're in the rebuilding process of, because those symbols and those signs were valid. That process, even if it was a storm and it was a war, that process was necessary. This world, this lifespan, it's a blip. This partnership with whatever this energy was, acceptance, acceptance and reactions. And the love at the bottom of the deck. Like, there is a love story here. There's an incredible love story here. And sometimes, like, the love story that a soul tells with a lifespan is one that is not necessarily all about pleasure and fluff and marshmallow. Sometimes the love story that a soul tells with a lifetime is one of freeing the entire family, being a part of freeing the world, and being a part of that like movement towards freedom against whatever aspect of the self is this King of Pentacles energy. And so the symbols were there for a reason. The experience was there for a reason. It caused massive reactions. It caused massive, like, intense things to happen. Like, it's no small thing for you to be called into a place of acceptance. But what's keeping you tied to this relationship in one way or another is not accepting that it happened, and not accepting that this happened to you, and not wanting to accept that it happened in the way that it happened, not wanting to accept that the story like used all of your strengths to trap you, and all of the weaknesses. Like, it's enough of a horrible experience, because I'm feeling like the storm, like, it was enough of a horrible experience that acceptance is like really difficult, you know. And so I think there's also a part of you that constantly says, you know, I wasn't loved. I've never been loved. That wasn't love. It was love. And I think that part of what the acceptance entails about this journey, because you have the Nine of Cups and you have Venus, the love card here. Sometimes somebody can be so cruel and vicious, and the storm can be so bad, and the war can go so long, and the war can get so horrible that is very much not love. And you're correct in identifying that very much is not love. But the thing that you're wanting to look at, because I think you're being called to accept it as a love story. And I think you're being called to accept it as a love story that was a sacrifice for the greater good. And that acceptance with, you know, this notion of where you are now and your relationship to love. Love is not a constant. Love is, I mean, it should be, you know, unconditional love is a constant. And I think that love is simultaneously a constant, but it also kind of is like, there's this way in which we kind of escape from it. And so your guides are sort of calling you to sort of be aware of the fact that this was love. And in order to process this properly, in order to let it go properly, yes, you were led to this relationship. Yes, you were called through this structure. Yes, it was a horrible storm of wars that loss, you know, was like almost incalculable in some ways. You know, your reactions to what it is to even remember those days and that time and those experiences are probably anything but acceptance. But your guys are saying, you know, with this reading, and we're going to leave this here, with this reading, what it means for you to be able to let go is to accept that the story happened, accept that it was a love story. But part of that acceptance and part of what it means to look at it very clearly is to accept that that love story had violence in it. And whatever you being able to conceive of that, you being able to heal from that, you being able to like accept the parts of yourself that were willing to endure some of that, that worldview shift from within, it has a purpose for your family, your lineage, And I think for the world, you know, I think you have something to bring through that's really powerful here, which is why this is not going to just, you know, evaporate. There's a healing process here that is really about accepting the story that this is. And so I think I'm going to get just a tiny little bit of like encouragement, because it leaves it in kind of a heavy place. You know, your guys are saying that there's something that is a victory here for you. There's some aspect of what it means to first get to the acceptance and then begin to be able to articulate like that story. First, you have to get to acceptance, and the victory comes through articulating just what happened. And that means you've got to be honest about your role in it as something that was motivated by love, and honest about the fact that there was love in it, and like it seems like there's a distortion, but I think you're meant to work with that, like untangle that, look at that, make sense of that. This is all about a certain generosity of spirit, and that might feel like, you know, pretty hard to accept, but you're meant to trust the magic here, because there is a magic here. There is something that you are bringing into the world through this experience, through the lifespan of telling this story. And we really don't often appreciate what it means to take on a life story that frees our lineage, take on a life story that frees our family. Like there's something here with the worldview and the collective unconscious and your conception of love and healing the self through this story. It's much bigger than you realize. And so when it comes down to accepting it, I think you have to accept that it's much bigger than you realize too. And so we're just going to leave it there. I hope that that was helpful, and I will see you again soon. Okay, pile number 2. For those of you that chose the flying pig, we have the Anima Mundi. This is an interesting card. Let me take a look. Huh. Okay, let me get more. That's an interesting, so like part of why you are so caught up in this is there's something. Okay, let me get more. I'm gonna actually get more cards before I jump in, because there's some aspect of that is super confusing. Let me take a look. This is an energy that, like, there's something here having to do with your entourage of spirit guides. And I need to know more before I can proceed. There's a lot of influences around you. And so part of what has you stuck on this seems to be related to one of those influences. The forgotten missed opportunities, the painter. Okay. Yes. So part of the reason that you have, like, there is this notion of an attachment, and it's funny because, like, I'm seeing with this Anima Mundi, like, all is within, all is within, all is without. Like, this energy that is part of your spiritual entourage, and these energies that are around you that have had a lot of influence. With the storyteller on the bottom of the deck, there's some story that you are participating in, or have stumbled into, or find yourself in, or have found yourself in, that is kind of different. You know, I'm not gonna lie, like, with this forgotten missed opportunities and fear of failure, like, how do I put this? I want to just kind of show you that you've got productivity and creation with the painter, you've got rediscovery and transition with the weaver, you've got self-expression and strength with the dancer, and you've got a bottom of the deck storyteller. So this is all of the art, and this is all of art forms. You know, when you have the forgotten and missed opportunities, your abilities, like whatever your creative capacity is, whatever your creative abilities are here, you are an energy that there are a lot of energies that want to be in your inner circle, that want to get close to you, that want to participate with what it is to influence you in some of this giftedness. That forgotten, like this is striking me as like underworld energies in one way or another, like from another place, from another time. Want to influence the way that you see yourself, influence the way that you perceive, influence the things that you make. But at the same time, it's the power of your creativity and the power of your ability to weave things together and the power of your self-expression that makes you so valuable in this way. So it's not that you are absent of any of these things. It's that there's some kind of a thing going on here in terms of like all of these energy. So I want to take a look using this funny deck, because this is striking me as forgotten energies or energies from the past or energies, stuff that wants to sort of be integrated into the world. This is very broad, so I'm kind of confused. It's a strange thing to see in like a reading about like love, you know. So let me take a look and see. I want to see what this forgotten energy is, and I'm sort of drawn to these cards for that purpose. Like there's this way in which when you were born and burst through into the world, like all of the different aspects that make you you, like I'm seeing Sleeping Beauty and the fairy god, no, what's that, not Sleep, yeah, Sleeping Beauty. I'm seeing Sleeping Beauty, I'm seeing the fairy godmothers, and I'm seeing each one of them gives her a different thing, and for the purpose of like defeating whatever that is, right? So like you're like Sleeping Beauty, like there's a very Sleeping Beauty sort of aspect to you, about you. Yeah, like gifts of magic in order to deal with whatever like this is. So let's get some more information on what that is. So these are all in reverse. So that's kind of interesting. So we've got the Lovers in reverse here, except for this one card. The only card that is not in reverse is the one card. And so what I'm seeing here with the forgotten, the missed opportunities, the fear of failure, the relationship that you can't let go of is not wanting to let go of you. And I think we have to look at that very, very closely, because this official person, or this energy of the official person, and all of these reversals here, and there's a lot to what that means, is sort of wrapped up in what it means to be the circle of influence. And so when we think about this relationship that you can't let go of, there's something about the person that you can't let go of, that whatever this negative energy field is, wants to make use of, or makes use of, or somehow entangled with. Because with whatever what you bring to the table is a bevy of like incredible gifts, talents, and abilities. And especially insofar as like it's extraordinary, right? Like you're the jackpot. I get this feeling from you so powerfully that you are like some kind of like a jackpot, like ancestors, you know, when you were born, they were like, it's a jackpot. We're lucky. But I also see these forgotten energies, these uncrossed ancestors, these like negative things, these energies that are actually just know what you're capable of and know what you are. And so insofar as you have these great things, you also have like energies that like you probably, yeah, this is where it gets like kind of confusing. You are attached to a feeling and a sensation and an aura and an energy that is not the person that you miss. It's this manipulation here. That person felt like home because this person is home. And this person is an energy that wants access to what it wants to take you or something. It's kind of weird. I know this is out there, but I'm gonna get into it. We're not gonna be scared. There's nothing to fear. Really, there's not anything to fear, because it just seems like this entanglement has to do with this entanglement and not necessarily like that physical person. It's like a spiritual entanglement with this official person energy here. That official person energy. All right, let's go. Somebody needs to, this strikes me very heavily as like somebody needs to just cross the fuck over. Like, it's time. Come on, go. Like, this is an attachment related to like somebody who was very important, did have a lot of influence, had a lot of plans, and they missed those opportunities. And so in some way that this energy, and there's some sort of infatuation, some sort of like lover's vibe here. We're often in our life, you know, working with energies to help them cross, and they might not be energies that we want to deal with, but part of our contract sometimes like is about helping people that we know in our day-to-day, and sometimes it's about an entanglement with an energy of the past that is going to somehow be part of your story that you have to transcend and that they have to transcend. Like, there are certain entanglements like that, and I'm seeing that as being one of these entanglements. There's some form of this energy feeling like a love kind of a vibe towards you. You might even feel a love sort of a vibe towards this energy. But this energy is opportunistic. And so the funny thing is, I think that the person that you're thinking about, the individual that you were thinking about, was probably somebody who took advantage of you. The individual that you were thinking about was probably somebody that was controlling. The individual that you're thinking about probably was somebody who wanted to hide you away and take all of your gifts for themselves, because that's how this energy is operating. And there's this aspect here of almost like, and they call it love, right? And so it's a haunting. Like, I want to say, like, what is keeping you from really being released or free from this is it's a haunting. And no matter how many times you cut cords or sever ties with that energy in the form of a person, an individual, it doesn't seem to work, because you're still haunted. But you're haunted by this energy that was making use of that energy. You're haunted by this energy that like is almost posing, you know what I mean, in that way. So let's look at it. Let's take a look. Let's get on in. Because hey, this energy that was this official person at a certain time was an official person with poverty in reverse and all of these cards in reverse. I'm going to say this is this person's life. We're going to be looking at the energy that is haunting you because they think they love you, and they can't, because this Lover's card in reverse says however they're going about it is not love. That might have been their understanding of love. That might have been their cultural construct of love, but it is not love. And so this missed opportunities in their life is turning into like something where you have to just get, this is an attachment. That's, I guess, that's what an attachment is. But let's look at why there's an attachment. Let's actually look at what the attachment is and why there's an attachment. Because there does seem to be some form of like the shadow of love or the whisper of love or an experience of love. There's something there in this person's life. They experienced this, and I guess this energy is kind of present enough that I can pick up on it. You know, in this person's life, they were, they had no emotional, like actually I'm seeing somebody who was like shipped off to a boarding school. I'm seeing somebody who had the most superficial relationship with their parents that they could possibly have. I'm seeing someone whose relationships with siblings wasn't superficial, but there was something fractured about those relationships, like early death, and also like some distortion. Like there was so much scarcity in terms of love, that there's something about the sibling relationship that left this person like bereft of emotional poverty. And it's funny that there's emotional poverty because this person was wealthy at the time of their passing, or they were wealthy to an extent somehow. The message of concern and the wealth. This person had a place of position with this official person. They had a place of status with this official person, and there's this aspect of them feeling very much like what they have to offer is concern for you. What they have to offer is like there's a possessiveness, but it's not a positive possessiveness. Now, the interesting thing about this is with the sudden wealth in reverse and the message of concern in reverse, as much wealth as this person had, as much wealth as this person had amassed, when they passed away, like no one cared. And it's and like I just want to be careful with that, because the level of superficial that the relationships that this person had in their life, they had a poverty, they had an absence, they didn't have the experience of love, right? despite whatever wealth they may have appeared to have, or despite whatever wealth they had, it was devastating upon their passing to find things as superficial as they were. And this is a point of grief that you share with this energy. And so part of the entanglement is that you both share this grief over an idealized version of the relationships that you had with your family actually not being what you thought that they were. The idealized relationships of love that you had with people in general, it doesn't even have to be family, turned out to be not what you thought it was. It's such a profound heartbreak and disappointment with what the world actually is, because this person had a beautiful dream-like way about them. They had a dream, they saw the world as the most beautiful image in the way that they thought about their relationships and the way that they thought about things, because there was an immaturity to it. Like the experience of eating a cake is good, right? It's positive. But if you've never eaten a cake and you only see a picture of a cake, like that cake and what you imagine that it tastes like, this person's conception of life in some ways, or a conception of love, not life, this person's conception of love was the picture of the cake that was so big and so grand and so spoken of and so indulged in so many ways, but the reality of their death, like yielding, like, no, it's shallow, there's no depth there. They forgot you after a week kind of an energy, or they forgot them after a week kind of an energy. And so this is something that you share. You have a feeling with the relationships around you that you like see this great love, you experience this great love, you even project this great love, but time and time again, people are only capable of a teacup of love. And so the reality of everyone being capable of a teacup of love, and you perceiving like what love could be, and then the devastation, like this is what you have in common. And so this pathway and this change, like there's something that you're working out with this energy. And I guess you may not even want to work it out with this energy. Like there's a part of you that I think would be looking at this and saying like, I'd like to just cut that cord. Thank you very much. Like we're done. Like go work out your shit on your own. I'm not working this out with you. But that's where it gets kind of sticky with the Anima Mundi, because your freedom from the devastation of the loss of love related to like the difference between what you believed love was available to be and like what love actually ended up being, your disappointment with life and people, and like, because there's this thing that that is this voice, but it's also your voice, like, because I'm hearing like almost like a chorus where you both judge the world together. And I'm actually seeing like something kind of cute. So I'm seeing the siblings, and I'm seeing like a party, and it's like a stuffy like huff and puff party, and the siblings are kind of like judging everyone in the room, and the entertainment is this like judging everybody in the room and making fun of people and so on and so forth. But it's fun, it's funny, it's entertaining, like it's legitimately entertaining. You do this in your head with this energy, and I don't mean like, I'm not suggesting that you're judging people and making fun of them and being mean. When I tell you that like what this looks like and feels like to me, it's witty, it's really smart, it's hilarious. If you can kind of picture like a church party or like a family party, and just the two like siblings that are at the same age and of the same humor, like really getting to sort of observe, like it's, I'm trying to explain that it's not evil or bad, but at the same time, like it's terrible, you know? And so like there's this way in which like your head, like this is an energy that entertains you, that you entertain to a certain extent. I have to cough, hold on one second. So that, yeah, so there's kind of like a friendship established. This is part of your spirit guide entourage, but this is a part of your spirit guide entourage that is there for the purpose of curing this disconnect for you, is curing this disconnect for this energy. Curing that disconnect for this energy is freeing yourself from this energy. And so there's something here about like the manner in which you free yourself from this energy is an epiphany for both of you. So let's take a look and see what that means. Let me look at this notion of love as you expected it, love as it is. And I'm seeing Pisces, I'm seeing fish. dreamer. Yeah, like the dream of what love is, the reality of what love is, the dream of what marriage is, the reality of what marriage is, the dream of what a career could be and is, and the reality of what a career is. That's a maturity growing up thing. And both of you got caught in the riptide of devastation around that discovery. It hit both of you in some sort of hard way. And this is the link. So let's look at that riptide. Patience. Envy. When you, oh gosh, this is intense. You know, I just realized something. Envy is interesting because envy, jealousy, like that kind of comes up for you a lot. That's the thing that it's like a theme that kind of research. This energy that haunts your environment, if somebody is willing to feel jealous or if someone is willing to feel envy of you, this energy is right with them having that experience. Like this energy is very envious of you. Like that's the envy in your life. And this envy does influence the envy of those around you as well. This energy expresses its envy through those willing to be envious of you. And so like when you see this pattern of envy, like anyone who has a similar feeling to this energy, like so this is an energy that is around you where you're like, oh, this is not a good thing. Like it's not a good thing, but at the same time, so this energy is envious of you. Let's figure out like how you're supposed to untangle this. Because, okay, so in terms of the disconnect between what life is and what life isn't, one of the things that I think that you feel a lot within yourself that we can, as we can release you from this, we can kind of release you from that, is this notion that like this energy sees your opportunities, sees your giftedness, and sees your and sort of doing this thing of comparison, where this energy is like, if I had all of these gifts and I lived in the time that you're living in, the sky is the limit. Like we can do this. Like if you would just follow me, if you would just take my lead, if you would just let me take over. Like there's this energy of envy around this notion of like, you're not good enough, right? And so I think you might even, as this energy sort of haunts you, kind of feel like you're not good enough, because you're not doing all of the things that, you know, and it's nonsense, because you're good enough. It's your life. This is your path. This is your temple path. This is your power. And so part of this energy is like position in your life is about you taking back your power. And part of taking back your power and stepping into your power is not giving a crap about envy, you know, and there's some call for patience here. You've been called to learn patience. You've been called to figure out how to like not care about envy, because all of these gifts, the painter, the weaver, the dancer, the storyteller, all of these gifts you have, right? So you have all of these gifts. So in having all of these gifts, you can't have all of these gifts and not encounter envy. And so that, even though you were learning how to deal with it in this way, you would have still had to learn how to deal with it. There's something about like this connection here that is like your healing is their healing, and for some reason it's part of the path. But you would have had to overcome this. You also, this energy and like this energy in your life also is forcing you to learn patience with yourself, because this energy is always trying to rush you, you know, so you're having to learn how to encounter patience and have patience with yourself. You know, in terms of like, yeah, I was looking for more. I'm just telling your guides, I'm looking for more on that disconnect, because ideally we can undo or have the epiphany to release this. Like I want to do that, you know, because I feel like knowing is not good enough. I don't like the idea of you still having to be kind of haunted by this. A lot of times when we have an attachment like this, our first inclination is to just like go and get rid of it. But in this mix, it seems like you're on a mission that is just a strange mission. We come back for our ancestors. We come back for our friends. And when they don't cross over, a lot of times like we will come back and still endeavor to do the work with them as if they had crossed over and taken on a new life with us. Like this seems to be someone who's stubborn. My throat chakra keeps on getting activated, so I'm gonna cough if I need to rather than stop and start. If you hear me cough, it's just we're doing the human thing of coughing. So let's take a look and see. this Knight of Cups, this offer of love, this Ace of Cups, and this Hermit, and this King of Wands with the Eight of Cups, and the Queen of Cups just below that. So it's going to be hard for you to walk away, actually. Wow, this is loaded. Hold on. Let me get more cards. I want to look at this a little bit closer. You know, as much envy as exists there, there's a tremendous amount of love. And like, I think that this is going to be tough. Let me take a look. How do I proceed? This is odd. This energy does weirdly. Yeah, let me get some more information. Like, this is a whole ordeal. You know, I want to say that for you, it's not as simple as just sort of identifying that person that you kind of feel this you can't seem to get rid of them. It's a haunting. Like, it's a real haunting. It's a real haunting. Like, this is a haunting. And when I say that it's a haunting, this happens. This is pretty common. Like, I know that this is common with most people always, because a lot of people, I've never met anyone that didn't come back for somebody that they loved to kind of like help them through whatever they needed to learn in order to cross over, by like going through that circumstance and that story and having this experience where, you know, your soul knew that this soul was going to be lurking and like following you, and understood that to release this soul, you would have to go through that story. So you've gone through story after story after story, and so there's a way in which, like, yes, it's an attachment, but there is genuine love. Like, there's actual love here. And I think that when we think about what it means for you to let go, or to be freed from this, or have your power from this, or get your power, you know, take your power squarely where it needs to be, I think we have to accept that you love this energy. You know, you love this energy to come back for this energy. You love this energy enough to live through the stories that you've lived through in order to have that experience of disappointment with like hopes of love and shallow love. You even endeavored to like allow for this. Like, you have done so many clearings in your life. Like, you are so capable of energetically clearing your space, that it's your higher self that's saying like, no, you agreed to actually wrestle this idiot over the line. Like, there's a way in which your guides are saying like, this is a haunting that you're living through a lot of experiences. There's a plan here. You actually love this energy, like, and you probably know that you love this energy, because the person that you associate with this energy, you think that you can't not love. And so it's a little bit of like a transference, you know what I mean? And so when we think about like the Saturn being, whenever I see the Saturn card with something like this, it's like there is some kind of a contract. There is some kind of like a limit in terms of like getting rid of this energy. And that's not saying that you don't have free will and that you can't. Like, your whole mission here is to get your power. This is part of your path with the temple path. This taught you patience, or it's teaching you patience, or you're meant to have patience, or you're called to have patience. And the envy that you keep on fielding, like, does happen to be related to this energy. So like Saturn says, like, there's a limit to this seventh house and the self. Like, this is part of something that you're meant to work through. So like, being able to say like that there is love here is it's hard, right? Because like that's where it gets fucked up. Like, that's where I as a person who's like does work, where part of that work is helping people walk away. Like, the King of Wands, the Eight of Cups, and the Queen of Cups speaks of kind of like a battle here with this emotional investment. And a battle here with a depth of love that it does come from something else, somewhere else. Let's take a look at what that means. You know what? Let me see. I don't think this is the deck I'm going to use to look at that. I'm going to use, where do you want me to go with this, Spirit? What was the relationship like in life? Or who was the relationship in life? You know, this energy has like an unhealed streak. It's an unhealed, like, okay, let's get this energy. Because bottom of the deck energy, empowerment, you know, that third chakra, that empowerment, like this is meant to empower you. This is part of your empowerment. Like I'm seeing someone like lift weights, you know, like this is something about you getting muscle or you gaining muscle. As hard as this process is, the love that exists here, you're part of a mission a little bit, but even more than that, you're meant to have these lessons. Like if this energy was gone, you'd still be having the lessons. Having this energy in tow means fielding a little bit of extra envy and fielding some interference in terms of what it means for you to leave your comfort zone, connect with others, get out of the house. Like that's where this is a problem. But ultimately, yeah, let me see. Let me get some more. It's weird advice. I don't want to give weird advice. Let's take a look and see what I'm going to get here. Because this energy is confusing. That Knight of Cups, that outflow of love, that great, deep, like enduring, unconditional love, like that's a reality. I don't know what this person is capable of because they are from like in an immature place, but their higher self is part of whatever this mission is ongoing. It's like I feel kind of annoyed, I'll be honest with you. Like there's something here that I'm like, why is this your problem? And your guys are like, what are you? Of course, like there's always a bigger picture. There is a great deal of love here. And I think that that's what needs to be healed. And there might even be something about your karma. Like I do think that there's something here about this message of concern. This is something that there's some reason why, like something that you did, something that you contributed to during this person's life led to what it meant for them to suffer the kind of disappointment that they suffered, that grounded them. It's almost like they had two deaths. One death that was like the heart and the soul, and like then the next death was the body. And so this love that was so grandiose or grand that didn't turn out to be true, that grounded this person. I think that was you. I think that's the entanglement. But the truth is there's a lot of love here. The truth is whatever that cosmic higher self arrangement is, there's so much love that you've been willing to go through it. You've been willing to endure this. You've been willing to take a lot for this, to try and write this, to try and sort of do what can be done. The work, it's work, Eight of Pentacles, that's some work. And then Knight of Cups again, Knight of Cups, Knight of Cups. So you love this energy. This energy loves you. I'm getting sibling vibes, I'll be honest. And this is a story that I'm seeing the rings of a tree, the Emperor on the bottom of the deck. So your job here in terms of empowerment is taking dominion over this story. And I think that you have done that to a certain extent. But I think with an ability to sort of look at it as a haunting, with the ability of to sort of look at it as a haunting that is part of the karma that you are working with another. There are things here that you want to take dominion over. You want to take dominion over stuff related to envy. You want to take dominion over stuff related to hermiting, because this energy would love to just have you all to their own. Like you're much more their part. Like they feel like, yeah, it's like you're much more there with them when you're not around others. This person presents as kind of a comfort zone to a certain degree. I'm a little bit afraid of what it would feel like in your environment if this energy were like suddenly very absent, because I think that you are so used to this energy that it feels like a part of yourself. And in a sense, it is a part of yourself. So like there's a part of you that like refuses to walk away from this. King of Wands, battle, emotional investment, battle with this emotional investment, battle with this love. It's not really a healthy thing. You're not meant to stay in stuff that isn't healthy. You're not meant to sacrifice your life. But something about this story, something about this love is very much unfinished business. And so even though there's the story of your life where you have all of these gifts and you have this mission for yourself and for the universe writ large, because you're not here for nothing. This is a side quest that is really hard to deal with. Like it's a lot. Let's get some more cards. I want to see how you work with this. Because that patience card there, well, listen, you know, you can go and like, I would never say that you have to deal with anything that is something that's unhealed. I would never suggest that. So you have a choice here. Like, there's absolutely a choice here. But to the extent that you may very much, both of these Knight of Cups, you may very much want to work this out. Like, we'll do it right now if we can. You know, if we can't, we'll think about what it means for you to sever the tie. But let's take a look and see what we can do in terms of working it out or working with this. When you leave the house and start to do stuff, you know, when you begin to engage with your talents, when you begin to engage with your own life, there's not a lot of power that this energy has. When you're disengaged from your life and when you're giving your power away, that's when this stuff, there can be a little bit of too much influence. Gnosis from the beginning, and the Judge, and the Stone. Like Mary Magdalene vibes, you know, with that stone that's like blocking the way. There is a stone here, you know, there's a call for you to more powerfully move into your life, very much so. This kind of side quest thing, the way that it works itself out is by you succeeding. This energy doesn't have any real influence if your attention, again, if you're not giving your power away and your attention is on your gifts and what you want to create. And by giving power away, when there's always going to be energies around us that are for us, and there's always going to be energies around us that are against us. Like, just think about the world that you're in. Any room that you're in with a group of people, there are going to be people who are for you, people that are against you, and people that are indifferent. If you're knowing everybody, right? That's just the nature of what it is to operate in relationships, in culture and community. Wait, I just got lost for a second there. Like, that was, I saw something horrible. Just give me 1 second. Oh, this is your life lesson. Like, okay, yeah. So this notion of like, I just saw like a lot of you've kind of fielded a lot of social difficulties. Like, there's no two ways about it. Like, you've been through it. So all of your gifts, everything that you're meant to create, it necessitates you not caring what people think. And as long as there's a crowd around you, there are going to be energies that influence those people. And whether those energies that influence those people are those people's ancestors, you know, the reason why some people like each other and don't like each other a lot, that's like ancestral influence. Like, you know, great aunt, you know, Betty doesn't like your, you know, sister's boyfriend. Like, you know, so you just immediately like, I don't like that guy. You know what I mean? So there's this way in which like there are energies that are sort of like indifferent to you that can have influence. But to the extent that this energy like wants to steer you, and will often use people who are willing to hold envy, people who are willing to hold sort of like obsessive love, people who are willing to hold just a bunch of stuff that this energy kind of has in the mix towards you. This energy wants to be alive, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the problem. So, and wants to kind of live through you or with you. And to the extent that you don't give up your power, and the extent that you don't give your power away at all, like, that's the freedom for you. The freedom for you is not letting the slights of other people affect your creative capacity and what you create. So since that's already your life lesson, and since this energy becomes powerless to in any way mess with you, if you don't care what petty people are willing to bring through on behalf of this energy. Like if you don't care about petty people, if you don't care about the pettiness of the world, and this is sort of that lesson about like the world is a disappointment, people are a disappointment. If you can take the poison out of the power that you give people to hurt you, or the power that you allow others to have to hurt you, then this energy has no power to hurt you. And if you do that, that's your life lesson, and that's part of your life lesson anyway. So there's like this free will component where you're already learning this stuff. That's the key to your success. Now, when you are able to have that lesson, that epiphany of no longer caring what people think or say about you, that's the release that you're going to have for yourself, and that's the release that you're going to have, that this person is going to have with you, and that's going to be the ultimate release. And then you're free to sort of just like move into what you're doing. Not that you're not free to move into what you're doing now, but what you're doing necessitates you not caring what anybody thinks anyway. So you have to kind of go through this movement of not letting your power be taken from you in that way. So this judgment of others, this judgment of self, like one of the big like heartbreaking things. Oh man, that is sad though. I mean, I'm just seeing like this person was misjudged at every, like when this person passed and they were able to see the superficial nature of the relationships, and it was heartbreaking. And when they were faced with the fact that the world is just, there is no redeeming anything. Like this person's in a personal hell in some ways because the world is a terrible place. There's no love. It's all garbage because the romantic dreams and the romanticized like version, the picture of the cake was really beautiful. Your picture of the cake was really beautiful too. Your devastation and your disappointment with the nature of like actual people's capacity for love and the nature of the world's actual capacity for goodness, like you do share this. And so the aspect of you that really loves that picture of the cake, that really loved this concept of love, that really loved this concept of romance, that the, you know, falling in love, when you fall in love with love itself, you know, falling in love with love, like fell so hard in love with love that there's an equal and opposite hurt, wounded, angry disconnect. And so like this is the reason you can't let this person go is because it's connected to all this other stuff. All this other stuff is connected to the fact that that great disappointment that you have in love, that great disappointment that you have in other people, that great disappointment that you have in the goodness of the world, that great disappointment you have in like the existence of like what you thought God and church and state and all this other stuff was, like that's caring what other people think. That's caring what other people say. Like those two things are connected. And I don't even understand 100% how they're connected, but the same judgments that are going up about the way that people love, instead of like actually somehow encountering love, is affecting your ability to get close to people. Like, so I don't know if I got that perfect. It was kind of convoluted, and you might have to work on this. You might have to do some journaling and shadow work, but like essentially caring what other people think of you and letting that stop you from creating and being your best self. You have to get over that. You have to be all of these talents at all the way up, you know, channel the forces of the divine. Like, you know, this Anima Mundi is like this is a lot of energy around you that is connected to all of these gifts, and what it means for you to hold your power again is to not give your power away every single time someone criticizes you, to not give your power away every single time someone judges you harshly or judges you wrong. And the same faculty of giving your power away because of those things in like relationship to individuals, it seems to be in relationship to the world disappointments as well. So those two things are linked. So it's like forgive the universe, forgive the world, forgive the people. That technology of forgiveness is about releasing you. Be released from that stuff. Actively participate and stepping into your life and stepping into creating your life and stepping into creating with your life. And you become impervious to the judgments of others. You become impervious to the judgment of this energy, and you free yourself, and somehow that healing is their healing. And so it's kind of a big deal. You have to move this stone away, but as much as it's their resurrection, it's your resurrection too. And this is a big deal. This is a lot of work. You know, when it comes to your reading with the bottom of the deck energy being this Emperor energy and the King of Wands, the Eight of Cups and the Queen of Cups, yes, this is a war, you know, to walk away from the emotional investment and what people think, almost, because that emotional investment and what people think is how much you love people. It's almost like the religious person who loved like their religion 100% with everything in them, and then they discover that that is not how it works and that's not true. Now they hate religion more than anything, and you know, you loved the idea of a certain kind of love, a certain kind of acceptance, like a certain kind of goodness in the world, and the disappointment that you are met with makes you that much like angrier. And so when we think about taking dominion over your life and taking dominion over like this relationship to that picture of the cake needs to be forgiven, both with the world and individuals. That's moving that stone. So it is work. And I hope that that helped. I know that that's kind of a lot, but I really do hope that that helped, because your empowerment comes with this movement of saying, yes, I love this energy loves me. Okay, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of, you know, whatever. However, this hermit position makes it really easy for you to consider this person just home, or this energy just kind of like home. This energy doesn't confront you when you're just home. And so this energy doesn't have any power to hurt you if you don't care about other people's weaknesses. I guess I'm just gonna kind of go over this again, because this is tricky. People who are willing to hold pettiness, shallowness, a lack of depth, a lack of maturity, emotional maturity, are going to be a pain in the ass anyway. Any energy that is willing to match their energy of pettiness is now like, they just bring pettiness into the world with them. Like, that's what they do, because that's where they're at. To think that you have to sort of cut this person off or this energy off in order to avoid any interaction with the pettiness, because this energy is petty and will be petty with energies. You can't possibly get rid of every single person willing to hold pettiness, whether or not this energy is around you. So there's almost like a healing to be had in this notion of the Eight of Cups, deep love that is there, and the battle with the deep love that is there. It's okay to know that there is love both ways with this energy. Just don't give your power away. And not giving your power away to this energy is the same as not giving your power away to any energies, people. And that's your life lesson that is crucial for properly handling these gifts and properly bringing these gifts into the world and properly being positioned in relationship to the power of what your gifts have for the world. So you have an empowerment mission with your whole life. And you can detach from this person that you are thinking of because it's this haunting. What this haunting represents, that's something that you're going to work on. You're not going to have a dysfunctional relationship with this haunting. You're going to recognize that whatever love is there, but that it's time to take your power back. It's time to move out of patterns of isolating, because that's moving the stone out of your way and also releasing you from this haunting. So I hope that that was helpful. And I know that that's a lot. And if you do have questions, leave them down below, because I think it's probably a little convoluted because it didn't come through perfectly for me. So I don't know how it translated, but I'm going to leave it there, and I hope that that was helpful. Actually, before I leave it there, let's just grab one more thing. Just get one more. Let's get a message from our higher self about this. You are so gifted. I mean, I think that's amazing. Like, you know, aside from all this other stuff, like, you're incredibly gifted. Like, that's without a doubt. Like, you are a jackpot in a lot of ways. And so there's also this way in which, like, if this energy was out of the way in terms of wanting to have, you know, influence, like, there would be other energies. Like, you're always going to be working with the divine in various forms, and what you're willing to pay attention to is what you're going to be collaborating with in terms of inspiration. And so think about that, and you're capable of collaborating with any number of energies that want to inspire you. So the quality of that inspiration, like what is quality inspiration versus what is like inspiration that is just like petty or not that, you know? So think about what you entertain, because that's another part of this. There's always enough, and let spirit be your guide. With the bottom of the deck energy being spirit has a plan, is you don't have to be fearful that anything can take your gifts away, or that anybody can hurt you, or that there's a plan against you, or the opposition. Like, this is more like an energy that you love, that is difficult to bring through, like you know, and like it's not anything is against you. There's always enough means that spirit has a plan here, and let spirit be your guide. Like, you're not the only one on this mission. There are celestial powers of great magnitude that are working with you and a great many others to help those who are, for whatever reason, still stuck. You know, like we've come back for our loved ones to sort of bring them through into the new worldview, and you're a part of that mission. And there's a much bigger, you're not alone in this, is basically what I'm saying. And so the release or the liberation almost comes with the clarity, and just allowing this thing to play itself out in the way of you, or like learning how to take dominion over your gifts and step into your power. So we're going to leave it there, and I hope that was helpful, and I will see you again soon. Okay, pile number 3, those of you that chose the tree, like I heard tree hugger. I don't know what, like that just came through as I was holding it. Bottom of the deck, we've got the fault line. So there's some sort of fissure, there's some sort of break here. Let's take a look. Let me start with these. So the fault line, it's a couple of things. There was some sort of a break here, or a breaking point, but also this may have been the thing that finally broke you. Like that, I'm hearing that kind of powerfully. Like something about this was the final. Your guys are basically saying like you're pretty damn unbreakable. Like as unbreakable goes, like you were up there with the unbreakables. But when something finally broke you, like that was related to this. So part of why it's so hard to let go is because like this was the thing that like actually broke you, and that had a effect. So let's take a look and see what the dynamic is. Let's look at this relationship. Heartless. Swords. And oh man. Bottom of the deck, we have the High Priestess with the King of Wands sort of peeking as I break it. The King of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles is going to be somebody who, in one way or another, sees you as a asset. I don't actually, like there's like Nine of Pentacles is high regard. It's a position of status. It's somebody who is in their own right, like independently worked and established themselves with great wealth and high regard. Now this King of Swords being heartless, like I'm getting like tiger mind bomb sort of vibes. Like I'm getting like a controlling parent sort of vibes, or like your labor belongs to me, your time belongs to me. Something here. Let me get more information. So I want to see who is this King of Swords energy. Well, there's also, your guys are basically saying like, you know, not only is it something that like it seems like someone took advantage, you know, there's something even more here, like in terms of like, why is it hard for you to just like let go of this? Why is it hard for you to like walk away from it? And you're kind of disconnected from your heart. Like in some ways it sort of pushed you all the way into this position of saying like, I'm just going to worry about my career. I'm just going to establish myself. I'm not going to care about anything else. Like, I'm not going to put my heart anywhere else. Like, I won't love anything. There will be no, like, this thing, like a whole, there's something shut down. It pushed you into this, like, this direction of walking away from love in a certain kind of a way. And so it's like, you know, the resignation, or the lack of resignation. There's this resignation in terms of like, I'm not even going to try anymore, you know. But there's something in terms of like the lack of resignation. So there's some part of your soul, some part of your heart that will not resign to a life without love. There's a part of you that will not resign itself to not having a loved person, like somebody who loves you and you love them back. And because that part of you still exists, you can't, like, that's what you're not letting go of. And that's something you shouldn't let go of. And so this person, this memory, it's almost like this person was the last person you felt something for. And even if this breaking point with the fault line, like, I'm getting some sort of like some vibes that are like a little confusing along the lines of one of two things. Either the relationship was a really long relationship and it died long before it broke, you know, or there was a relationship that was really significant before this relationship, right? So there was a relationship before this relationship that was incredibly significant, like major relationship. This might have been a blip or a rebound or like a small relationship that was the breaking point. So there's something about this being like where you really aren't even seeing the significance of the breaking point, right? So the breaking point isn't just that that person like was so powerful, you know what I mean? It was the last straw on love. And as the last straw on love, what you're not able to let go of isn't this person. It's tied up, it's tangled up in this, the notion of this person, but it's really the part of you that will not give up on love itself. And so it's like you're not even interested in this person, but when you look for love and you orient toward it, like almost unconsciously, like a ghost limb, like there's this way in which you kind of gaze at that, it upsets you, but why is it still there? And then you gaze away from it, right? But you keep doing it and you're like, why am I even doing this? Because there's this part of you that is like sparking here with the Ace of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords that says, you're meant to have love on your path. You're meant to take action in this direction. You're meant to experience this. You're meant to have this. You're meant to do this. Now, we do have to talk about this Ten of Wands and the Six of Cups because nostalgia weighs heavy. Like the past is a heavy weight and it's related to this breaking point as well. So you know that there's love on your path and that's what keeps on taking action and kind of like, that's what you're feeling when you can't let go. And you shouldn't let go of that. There is love on your path. Like we're going to talk about that because there's also you feeling like the weight of the disappointments of not just this individual, but family. Like this was a breaking point that had been like, it had been, I guess the way to put this is you are so strong. And I'm seeing one of these situations where like I'm seeing like a platform and and putting dumbbells, like weights on the platform, and with each weight on the platform, the platform gets closer to the breaking point and closer to the breaking point and closer to the breaking point. This person is the last weight that caused the breaking point, but all of the weights that caused the breaking point are over here with the Ten of Wands and the Six of Cups, related to disappointments of the heart with family and nostalgia. So like there is a lot wrapped up in why it's hard for you to like liberate yourself from that energy, because it's a bigger task here. Let's take a look at it. Let's kind of get into it. I almost think we have to do most of our work over here with this Ten of Wands and the Six of Cups, because this is basically your body and heart and mind's way of saying, if I'm not going to be successful in love, I'm going to be successful. Like that's it. And your guides are saying like, yep, you are going to be successful 100%. Like put your energy there. You don't need to have your energy focused on love. Like that doesn't have to, that can be decentered. It should be decentered. We want it decentered. That's why this happened. But love is part of your life, and the part of you that won't give up on love, you want pivot towards that when you have these feelings. You don't want to give up on love. You don't need to give up on love. But we do have to heal a lot of what you're carrying in order for you to not be allergic, or it, you know, almost feels like. With this High Priestess is the unspoken, and the King of Wands is like passion and desire and also anger. So let's take a look at this. Let's just kind of move these over and take a look at this 10 of Wands and the 6 of Cups. Let me see, what is the 10 of Wands? Like, let me see what's at play with these 10 of Wands. You know, the 10 of Wands is going to be a breaking point that is a breakthrough, because you were carrying too much to begin with. There was too much weight that you were carting around with you to begin with. You were doing too much on your own. There's too much independence. So that breaking point, that where you can't hold it anymore, also allows the door to open for some help. So you're carrying, I see the Wands as battles that you fought and won, or fought and lost. It doesn't matter. They're heavy and they're still with you. You're still carrying them with you. And so I think you've been, like, I see somebody who has had a lot of battles for their age too. Like, the number of battles that you've sort of weathered and your age, there's something there. Like, you've battled a lot. I think I'm basically like weary. With the Guide and Inheritance, the Warrior and Perfectionism, and the Catalyst, taking radical change. You're a communicator, the Orator, communication with confidence. You have a lot to communicate. You know, each one of those wands, because we have the High Priestess here who does not communicate, the Silence, knows but does not communicate, or communicates telepathically. But like, this is a silent, you know, a deep silence. These 10 of Wands represent war stories that with the Orator, you are meant to tell. You are meant to, you know, offloading these, the weight that you're carrying, oh man, it is the fault line. Because you have inheritance and correction. A lot of this is you inherited a hard story. You inherited a lot in the way of like epigenetic, like stuff that has to work out, generational curses. You're bringing in genes that were dormant for so long that like there are energies that like aren't comfortable with that. So like this inheritance and correction, and the Guide here says that you're part of what carrying a lot is for you. Is stuff that you have been carrying forever, you know, you carried into the world with you in one way or another, and you have been a warrior about it. But it's time for change. Your guides don't even want to go into what each and every one of these battles was. They don't even, they're like, we don't need to make an accounting of it, because it's all stuff that you're working at. Like, there's a lot of ancestral work happening here. Burnout and perfectionism. I need more cards. Let's get some more cards. Let me see what, here are these. Okay. We want the identifying. Let me see what this inheritance correction is. Taking action on your life, taking action on your path. In order to do that properly, because there is love that's really a big part of this. You can only get so far with the 9 of Pentacles, King of Swords sort of mentality. It's, you feel drained. You're dry land. Like, it's not what you need to feel love again in a certain kind of a way. Not even about like another person. Like, it has to be accessible for you emotionally as like a feeling. So let me see this Guide, this inheritance, this correction. I think that I know that as an aside, like in my Patreon, we're working a lot with this concept of like love, and, you know, looking at it from different like places and ways, and spirituality, and, you know, spiritual ways of looking at it. And I think that there's just so much like distrust about love, like in any way, you know, no matter how you paint it. And so part of this is, yeah, like the part of what you're carrying is just like this energy, this person who is like bent over with all of this growth and all of this, you know, like wisdom from all of these experiences. Their heart is unable to sort of get to, like, their heart isn't exposed to the sun. They're not able to receive. And so when we think about how important it is for you to receive, like that's kind of what this is, you know, all of this nostalgia, every time you look back, it reflects this need to carry it all on your own. Like I'm looking at this, look at how like large she is, how big she is, how majestic she is. Like if you think about all of the wisdom and all of the growth and all that she has to offer and all of the strength, this woman, how much strength, wisdom, and like assets is she to this little group? But this little group doesn't see her, right? And so she's always looking back at this group that doesn't see her. She's always looking back at this group that doesn't see her. And she's carrying the weight of all of the lessons that she's had to learn on her own. And she doesn't even know how big she is in comparison to others. And so like, this is kind of a big deal when it comes to your confidence and your communication. So for you to look at this differently is super important. When we think about this guide, this inheritance, like what you inherited in the way of stories that you had to like move through, self-esteem, masking, and less. And less is in reverse. So it's like, what do you need less of? But in reverse, like what do you need more of? Your needs have not been met. And so like the self-esteem here has been very much affected by whatever mechanism was at play in childhood, because there is that aspect where you were required to mask, where the version of yourself that is most you was not allowed to participate or not welcome, and you had to mask to get your needs met. When you have to mask to get your needs met, the mask gets the needs, but you don't get them met. So your guides want me to say that again very slowly. If you have to mask to get your needs met, then when the needs are met, it is the mask that is getting the needs met, and the mask doesn't have needs. So this causes a level of neglect of the person who really has needs. So you need mirroring. You need people to see you have positive regard, and then you see them having positive regard. You see them liking you and loving you, and you're able to see yourself through that expression. If you're wearing a mask, your emotional needs are not met, because everything that you're getting in the way of approval is for working really hard instead of being. And so that has a dramatic effect on the self-esteem. And it's also why you've had to do everything on your own, and why you have this very beautiful perspective, but no ability to receive. And so when it comes to the warrior and burnout and change, this is this moment that change is needed, related to you sort of accepting that you need love. That whatever this not being able to let go, not being able to let go, not being able to not let go, it doesn't even make sense. That's the part of you that says, I'm not letting go of our hope for love. We need love. You want that, right? That's important. The reason why that seems like such an impossible thing is, and the reason why you're not even allowing that to really be something that you accept, is because you have never received. And having not received, because I think this is really telling me this whole masking scenario of no self-esteem, no mirroring, no one having really accepted like the you that is. You've been fighting all of your life to prove your value. You've been fighting all of your life to show people that you're really good, to show people that you're exceptional, to show people you've put so much effort in, like, and all that it's done is make your load heavier. Even though there's all this achievement, all of this wisdom, all of this transformation, all of this value, you still need to learn how to receive. So you have fought really hard to receive, but here's the trouble. You have to change in order for that to happen, and you have to change what you're looking at in order for that to happen. And there also has to be some communication that comes in. So one of the ways that you are going to overcome this connection, you know, that you can't get rid of, is to say, it's that connection just keeps reminding me that I want and need love. And so it's not that connection. That's not where I'm going to find it. But I do have to admit that I want it. I do have to admit that I need it. And I do have to make some changes in order to start to learn what it means to receive. And there's no shame in any of it. But bottom of the deck energy, you know, being these negative habits, like there's some radical change that needs to happen and some new habits that need to form around your desire to connect and be loved. And that's hard, you know, like I'm not saying that it's easy because it's not, but let's get some information on how your guides want you to proceed with that, because the catalyst, radical changes and taking control. Let's see what your guides say about like how they want you to do that. So let me see, which cards do they want me to pull from? Let's use these. So it's almost like this person doesn't matter. Really accepting, really saying to yourself, I need the sun to hit my heart. You know, I need love. It necessitates change. That's okay. And what are those changes going to be like? What do those changes look like? Let's find out. Let's get some information, because it's been hard. I know that. It has been hard. That's fascinating. All right, hold on. Let me just grab, I'm so cold. My house, I like moved into a new space. And heat is kind of like a pain in the neck. Let me just put this up because I have a heated blanket on my lap, which is glorious. But this room can get super cold. Okay, here we go. So this is fascinating. You know, so we have arrows on the bottom of the deck, which I'm not surprised, because we're talking about romantic love, and we're talking about you need romance in your life. Like you need a better relationship with romance, not just romantic love. Your guides are saying like the candle and the bathtub and the scenty things and, you know, the delicious bits, like sensual stuff. These two energies are like ancient, you know, from the beginning queen. I think that when we talk about the self-esteem and we talk about the masking and we talk about who you really are and who you know you really are and where like you are actually coming from in the way of value and wealth, these are both ancient energies of like ancient energies of authority. And the ancient authority on who you are is this queen. And so much of what it's going to take for you to start making those radical changes and taking control is to step into what you really are. Step into who you really are. What does the version of yourself that is a queen, knows that you are a queen, like operates as a queen, like steps into that queen rulership, leadership, effervescence, instead of looking at where you are like wanting to belong or needing to belong and wanting to participate and wanting the support to come from, instead of not knowing where you're going to get your needs met and trying to pick up yet another flower, even though your heart has not seen the sun. These changes come from having a different version, like envisioning a different version of yourself, envisioning a different, like this person is the person who's left out. This person is the person who's not seen. This person is the person that's not appreciated. And when you have this vision of yourself, when you have this picture of yourself, when you think about who you are, often when you think about who you are, you think about how people have treated you. Often when you think about who you are, you think about the ways that others have seen you. And that's not giving you a proper appreciation. And because of the way of the world, like and the way that this story has sort of like, there's a lot that has gone on here in terms of overcoming any kind of opposition to your authentic expression that you've ever experienced, because we have that masking I want to like have those cards handy because I keep on seeing that stuff, you know, that self-esteem and that masking and that lust with the negative habits. Like these habits around not receiving is the same as the habits around not showing up unmasked. And when you show up unmasked, you are going to receive a lot of crap. It's inevitable that when you take that mask off, even if you're around people that like understand that you're not masking, they're still going to treat you differently. And you can't allow that different treatment to in any way affect your self-concept as part of what it means to change these negative habits and step into habits that are going to be more conducive of you like being able to receive. The habits that you're going to have to pick up to allow you to receive, that necessitates that you put down habits of doing it all on your own and defensiveness and not accepting help and not accepting offers, you know. And I'm not saying that people are making offers that you're not accepting, but there's something about your posturing and your energy that when we are able to sort of change the alchemy on that and move away from habits of isolating and into habits of knowing that you're a queen and feeling so good and so gorgeous. It's almost like when you look really, really good for some reason, like you catch your like reflection and you're like, wow, this outfit or like this hair, like something's going right. Or, you know, you want to go out. You don't want to just be sitting in the house on a day that you are looking your best. And so part of what it is to change these habits is to begin to attend to yourself in a way that recognizes the gnosis, the primordial truth of who you are, and just beginning to adorn yourself in a way that like that reflects that you know that you're the queen, that, you know, bring yourself into the world with that feeling of like, I am the queen, instead of like I'm not going to be any trouble. Like there's a different vibe, there's a different energy with somebody who knows their value, knows their worth, and like walks into a room like they are welcome, and somebody who walks into the room begging for mercy, like, please don't hurt me. I won't be any trouble, I'll do it all myself. Like these are two very different energies, and the kind of people that react to this energy are the kind of people that reinforce this energy, whereas the kind of people that react to this energy give you an entirely new experience of what it is to relate. And you need that, and you deserve that, and you will shine, because look at all of this wisdom and everything that you're carrying when you're able to like stand up. You know, then you just put this on display, and like you're able to receive as a result of what you've like collected. And so this catalyst for change has a lot to do with the self-esteem and working with this notion of when you unmask, you're going to get people that don't get it, don't like you, and treat you crappy. But if you are able to like see the version of yourself that is unmasked as the queen, step into this truth and this knowledge and this gnosis, you know, this primordial influence of like, bottom line, this is what I'm rooted in, then it doesn't really matter that there are going to be people that aren't going to recognize that, or if they recognize it, it's going to rub them the wrong way. It's your feeling space that matters. So when you're in a room and you feel like insecure and attacked, even if no one's saying anything and everyone's silent, that's an internal feeling space. So whether you're in a room with the internal spirit, if you have the internal feeling space that you might get attacked, or you're going to get attacked, or you think you could get attacked, right? Or you think people won't like you, or you think people are going to be mean, or you're not going to get love in that situation. If that is what the inside body feels like, right, then it's a terrible experience, even if nobody says anything, right? But if you feel like the queen of the world, if your inside body experience is the queen of the world inside body experience, and you are in the room and inside of you, you feel like the regal queen, amazing, gorgeous, then it doesn't matter who's saying nasty things around you. It's the internal space that matters. So being able to change that internal space is opening you up to receive not from everybody, because you don't want to receive from everybody. You meant to receive from those that are going to see you clearly, and that's going to be a process of discovery. But there's this call for you to step out of habits of like defending against love, and there's a lot of little ways that we do that, and step into a habit of course I'm going to be loved, of course I'm going to be valued, I am love, I am value. And we know that, everybody tells us that, that's the advice that we get over and over again, but there are negative habits in place that reinforce these experiences. And so a lot of this goes all the way back, and it relates to this breaking point. And you know, with the Six of Cups, we have all of the dumbbell weights on the table, and with that last dumbbell weight that broke the fault line, we have this individual that you can't get rid of, and we have to deal with this, everything that led to that breaking point. And everything that led to that breaking point is messaging that says, you don't deserve anything, you don't get anything, you already have enough, you don't need anything, what you have is for others. And if that's kind of shut you down and now you can't receive, taking that mask off is in some ways also allowing yourself to even just with yourself, know that there are massive needs that are unmet in terms of love, and that you're worthy of love, and that you're deserving of love. And when we think about the fact that like anyone telling you that you should have to mask and hide is keeping you from the experience of being loved for who you are, and anybody who doesn't appreciate the version of you that is unmasked isn't meant for you. And that might be kind of devastating, but if you still continue to be yourself, you continue to step into the hope and the expectation that love is for you and love is for you. It's rocky and difficult to unmask when you become even a little bit phobic about it, because of the way that a lot of people will respond to just differences. But this is an origin story thing I'm seeing. Let's get a little bit of information. Habits of confidence are different than habits of defense. And so when you're able to say, I do want love in my life and I deserve love in my life, part of I deserve love in my life is not letting every crappy person that ever withheld from you, or didn't think you deserve love, or didn't think you deserve kind regard, or didn't think that you know, every single person who sent you the message, you don't get anything, are you, that they have to be confronted. That chorus has to be confronted within yourself, and within yourself you have to say, absolutely I get love, absolutely I deserve to take up space, absolutely I deserve to be myself, absolutely I'm not going to dim my light because it casts a shadow on you, absolutely I'm going to speak from the wisdom that I gained, absolutely, you know, this is a declaration of self, a declaration of your own value, and a declaration of your own worth that is not going to come from somebody else. And I think that there is this shut down heart, you know, and this broken heart around this notion that that isn't going to come from somebody else, but it has to just first come from you. Because the way that this can come, the way that love can find you from someplace else is from a different position. And that different position is also a different experience of love. The only love that I'm seeing you have an experience of is in relationship to what you have done for others, and like rewards for taking care of others, or rewards for meeting their expectations, or rewards for it's, and for you to actually experience just love at the base camp of like, you are worthy and you are this queen, and stepping into that knowledge yourself, it does take strength. You know, it is a faith that you put in your gnosis that you are worthy of love, instead of an abandoning of yourself at the notion that you're worthy of love, because you're not abandoning yourself. That's why you still have this attachment you can't let go of. This is a bit of a struggle. It's a bit of a project. It's a bit of a putting in habits that are going to make it more likely that you're going to come in contact with those who are going to love you. That means doing stuff that you love. figuring out what you love, and understanding that the whole reason to figure out what you love, the whole reason to connect with where you're doing things that you enjoy, is so that you can meet other people who enjoy those same things. Like, when you understand that there's a purpose to this effort, like, this effort does need to be made, but this effort can be made from a place of knowing you're the queen, bringing that in. This effort can be made from a place of doing the work of unmasking and allowing yourself to approach and then have experiences of, yes, people who are crappy and for whatever reason, but also having experiences of people who see you, people who value you, people who don't want to punish you, you know, like, for needing anything. People who believe that you have a right to need things, because I think this comes from having an experience of the world where people don't think you have a right to need anything. They don't think you do need anything. If you need anything, you don't deserve it because look at what you have or don't. You know, there's some kind of crap. You know, there's a whole ball of stuff here with that. And this gnosis, you know you're worthy of love. Really lean into that. And it's not a question of going out and searching for love. It's a question of going out and searching for yourself. And then in finding yourself, you will find that love. Because right now with the Hermit card, you know, this is the work of it with the Chariot. We might hear my dog. She's crying about something. Hold on one second. Okay, took a little break to play with my dog and put on a warm, fuzzy sweater. So the breaking these negative habits, like, really does speak to this notion of moving away from this tendency to hermit. The Chariot, like, this is like you're taking action, you're going somewhere, but you're going somewhere at great effort. And I often see this card as like one horse is trying to go this way, one horse is trying to go this way, and you're trying to, like, you know, manage, like, pulling them, you know, in the direct, like, come on, let's go where we're going. So there's a tremendous amount of effort that is going to be involved in because this hermit feels like a lifestyle. Like, when I feel into it, it feels like a lifestyle. And the negative habits here, this is probably a comfortable lifestyle to a certain extent, but it's keeping you from that connection with love. And so, you know, when you sort of establish, I want to be loved, I deserve to be loved, and it's not some impossibility based on, like, this referendum of the past, because it's less about the type of love that you get. You know, this 10 of Wands is really speaking to this need to receive. So when you're able to open yourself up to this notion of, like, I deserve love, Eros, but also, like, I need to receive more broadly a lot of love. I have, like, there are emotional needs that aren't met with the fault line and with the King of Swords and the 9 of Pentacles. It's not that you haven't established yourself. But there's just this, like, this thing that is meant to grow. And so when you're able to say, I want people in my life that are supportive, I want people in my life that that love me and that I love, but there's a hermit lifestyle, the effort that it's going to take for you to move, you know, out of that lifestyle is recognizing that you want people around you, making that moment, and because it's going to haunt you, it's going to keep coming back. It's this connection that you can't let go of, is that you want people around you that are the right alchemy of people. For some of you, there's people around you, but they're the wrong alchemy of people, and you're still sort of, the hermit is just alone, really. And so your guys are saying, you know, what we want here is for you to work on the queen, work on the sense of yourself as the queen. This is where your strength is best applied, because you're not, like, again, you're not looking for this love. You're not saying, okay, I want love in my life. You're looking for this queen, and this queen is going to get you love. And this queen is a sense of yourself, a version of yourself, an experience of yourself. And this is work. And, you know, and let's take a look and just see, you know, what our guides want for you to kind of, like, focus on in the way of what that work might be. Because, again, you know, the hermit lifestyle, it's going to take strength and effort to shake things up a little bit, to change that. It doesn't mean that you aren't an introvert and won't be an introvert. It just means that you're you, but you're you with more access, you know, more predictable things that you do where you can encounter people. More, you know, when we're out, our guides can help, you know, like when our guides help us and our guides give to us and our guides, like are able to bless us through our experiencing. But that means we have to be experiencing. We have to be in the act of experiencing for them to bring things through. And so experiencing some new things in terms of what it means to be comfortable with yourself, know what you want, do things in the arena of the things that you want. That's going to be the battle. And it comes from this self-worth nugget of like, I'm worth this. I deserve love. I deserve people. I deserve opportunities. It doesn't matter how people react. You're doing things for you, you know, and it is enough. And you've always had to do things for yourself, but this is just a little different. Like, you know, I'm stumbling with my words just ever so slightly, but you know, when it comes to the thinking woman and being up in your head and the door to spirit, and the door to romance, you know, like, and the world, this is a new chapter, with the bottom of the deck being the angel of strength. Again, like there's a strength that you're meant to tap into by way of desire. Like it's a lot easier to change habits when we really desire something. In fact, when we are fearful, the only thing that overcomes fear 9 times out of 10 is anger. And so if you can summon some level of anger that says, you know, I'm so afraid of people and I'm afraid of people because of all of these negative things. And so that's why I don't have people and that's why I don't have love. If you can summon the anger that says, you know, fuck that, right? Like, absolutely not. Like, I deserve love and I don't care what it's going to take. I'm going to get there and I'm going to work on myself and what it means for me to feel good in my body, no matter what room I'm in and no matter what I'm hearing. And you've been working on yourself in a lot of ways, like along those lines, but the alchemy of allowing in this notion of I'm doing this so that I can receive love. Now, like that may have failed before, and I know that we're dealing with that, but it has to do with this. It's a position that you're standing in. It's an energetic, alchemical thing of like the weight of the world on your shoulders and like fear of people versus I know that I am amazing no matter what. And this is also much more likely to be where your encounters with disappointments with people knock you out of the relationship before it has a time to build. Because nobody's perfect and people will make mistakes and people will have errors of judgment and people will be in bad periods of their lives and project on you. Like there will be instances where you are disappointed with people. If you have so much pain and so much like tenderness around these wounds of rejection and disappointment, there's this testing and this leveling ground within every relationship that you won't make it past. If you are coming from the center of gravity that you are amazing and that anybody who's in your presence is being honored by your presence, and if they're not in a good mood, then they don't get your presence, but that doesn't mean that it's affecting your self-concept or affecting your ability to connect or making it so like, you know, that there's no rigidity there. And when this person comes back around and comes to their senses, you can resume like some level of growth. Like the stakes are really high from a place of deprivation. The stakes are really low from a place of feeling powerful and full. And so like that's kind of the difference that your guides want to move you into in terms of this hermit lifestyle, is begin to have these habits that create this queen, or this queen is already there, but ignite and recognize. And it is going to take strength. Angel of strength, angel of strength. It is going to take effort. And especially because like love is a part of your path, but it isn't a part of your experience. And so there is this faith in the future. I mean, the love that you have had is there, but it's in service. It's like weirdly like the guide is saying, like slave love. The thinking woman is the same as this Nine of Pentacles and this King of Swords. You live in your head. And the door to spirit is also the door to romance. Like make use of your spirituality, make use of what it means to build faith, make use of what it means to build faith and spirituality with others. Like there is some aspect here of like this new chapter. Your guides aren't telling you to run at romance. They're telling you like this is, I think this is an interesting, like both of these cards say door to, door to. It's like you have to first run through the door of spirit spirituality, healing, self-empowerment, connection with the divine. That's kind of how you're going to move back into your body, you know, move back into what it means to desire and the desire to be desired. Your guides are showing me vision boards, so I think that there is something for, your guides are saying like I see Pinterest. That's weird. So it's almost like your guides want you to make like a vision board for the person that you're going to be. What does that house look like? What are the people around you look like? What are the clothing that you wear? What kind of job are you having? Like, begin to piece together a connection between yourself and what you desire to receive, because you're worthy of all of those things. And that's where the work is going to get done, is even allowing yourself to think that these things are possible, allowing yourself to think that these things, that you're worthy of them. You know all of this stuff in your head. You need to get it in your body, which means that once you identify it mentally, you're able to bring some spiritual element into that manifestation, bring some prayer into that manifestation, bring some faith into that manifestation, bring some belief into that manifestation, and that will open this door to these opportunities, because there's going to be habit changes, because you have to get out of a lifestyle and into it. Like this lifestyle, the Chariot, like moving out of that lifestyle is the Strength card, the work of it. But it also leads to a new chapter, a new worldview, a new experience of the world. And so the Gnosis, these primordial energies, with Gnosis being this, no, you know you deserve love, you know you're worthy of love, and you know that if you were in the right environment, if you were able to express in the right way, you know that you are lovable in your head. To have the experience in your body, it's not that you haven't been loved, but again, like the masking and the in service of and the not receiving tells me that it's been like treacherous. And so this is a spiritual healing. This is a spiritual journey to take. And it's a challenge, right? And so with the bottom of the deck being intimacy, and especially 8th house version of intimacy, the underworld, like there's a lot here that goes into the work of, I hate to just like use the word loving yourself, because that sounds so trite, but you are a queen, you are royalty, you are amazing. You are continuously like the 9 of Pentacles, most like beautiful energy, like to be around. I know that it's been really difficult. I can tell that it's really difficult. The 6 of Cups tells me everything, you know, this particular card of like being left out. And I see that with the 10 of Wands, like, you know, like people projecting all sorts of stuff on you that you just never get your needs met, and you're walking in this deprivation. You're the queen. You're royalty. You're divine, and you know who knows that? Spirit knows that. So you might have to spend some time with Spirit and get some of this mirroring from Spirit in order to be able to step into this place of the door to romance. But the assignment here with this reading is to engage with the process of knowing that you are the queen. Gnosis, it's there, you know, like from the beginning of time. This is a fact. It is a fact. You are the queen. And now that you can say, this is a fact, I am the queen. You're spiritual royalty. That's what your guides are telling me. I am spiritual royalty. What does it mean to be spiritual royalty? Let Spirit show you. Engage with Spirit in this way. It'll begin to allow you to start to romanticize your life and bring romance into your experience, and bringing romance into your experience, bringing that like Venus energy into your experience. I see the Pinterest board. It doesn't have to be Pinterest. It could be anything, but it's like the house that is for the queen, the clothing that is for the version of you that is the queen, the people that would be around you, and the type of work that the queen does. Like, engage with Spirit on helping you see these things and helping you begin to explore what these things mean, because it is going to be a challenge and it is going to take some time. And the 8th house energy, like that's Scorpio, like underworld obsessions, mysteries, Kundalini energy. It's like investing in yourself and your mysteries and aspects of your sexuality. There's a lot going on here. So I think we're going to leave it there, because I think that's a lot to digest. I'm going to get just a couple of encouragement cards, like these sentences that our guides sort of give us in terms of sort of where they want us to focus as we move forward. But what's going to release you from this like nagging energy attachment with this person is just, you are the queen, and the queen is worthy of love, and there is no other answer, and there is no other story, and there is no other version of yourself. You are the queen that is worthy of love. You are the spiritual royalty that is surrounded by love. And those spiritual energies will teach you. And the challenge here is just approaching, making those approaches every single day, because you're going to lay a solid foundation and turn the knowledge that you have into wisdom, turn this pile of wisdom that you're carrying on your own into something that you can share and co-create with spirit. This is something, you know, I think that with this door to spirit equaling the door to romance, it's important to know that you do need this spiritual connection to help you through this process. You know, like I'm seeing I don't know I really know very little about AA, I'll be honest with you. So whatever my guide is showing me, I don't really know what I'm talking about in terms of like what the organization, I know it's a Alcoholics Anonymous. I know what the organization does, and I understand how it works, but I don't know all of the theology or like so. But your guys are saying that and they're showing me this one aspect that I'm aware of, that higher power, like and the way that I understand it is if you go to AA and you participate in the you give up drinking and drugs or whatever, the process of getting sober. That there's this aspect of the higher power, that it's not something that you can do on your own, that you have to recognize that you need the higher power in order to achieve this healing. You need the higher power in order to achieve this liberation. And where we have this journey, and you know, with the Hermit card and this Queen, where we have this journey back to yourself, you know, out of this isolation and out of the lifestyle of a level of isolation related to masking. So even if it's not, it's isolation, whether it's like you're all alone or you haven't had the opportunity to bring yourself, you know, to like authentically to relationship, or even have that authentic experience of yourself with the foundation here. There is a need to with this door to spirit, door to romance, to say to the divine, like, I need you to like, for this to happen, like, I need that higher power. I need to step into that assistance. And this foundation, you know, this foundation that you're building is this Queen. You're building a solid foundation, a solid sense of yourself as this Queen. And so this is co-create with spirit, door to spirit. Do this with the divine. You have so much to offer the world. Bottom of the deck, you're getting to that point where, you know, where this chariot is taking you is this place where you let it shine. And from that shining place, that beacon place, your people will, your guides are saying that's where you're going to find those who will love you in the right way, find the experience of what it means to safely receive. It's from a place of strength. And that's the work, but the divine is with you on this. So that's where we're going to leave that. I hope that was helpful. There's a lot there, and that's it. I'll see you again soon.